AB TV and Kashulia UK bring you The New Woman. The New Woman is a platform to empower women, to give you practical tools, inspiration and guidance to really tap into your full potential. My name is Suman Manghra and I'm the founder of Discover Change, and I'm really excited to be the host for The New Woman. Now, I'm even more excited to be here with Suman Manghra today. Hi, Suman, and welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. Now, Suman Manghra here is founder of Manifestation MAVEN. Suman helps people to achieve personal mastery and really create that mindset transformation they need to really reach the next level in their life, in their business, personally, professionally. I've seen Suman talk many times, and I have probably never been this excited in this show because I'm like Suman's biggest fan. So I can't wait for Suman to be here today and really share with you these practical tools and inspiration to rewire your mind for success. So once again, Suman, thank you so much for coming. I'm really excited to hear what you're going to share with us today. So to get started with, you do so many things. You're involved in a lot of projects. Even people get confused. What exactly do you do? So I bet, because well, you do so many things. You're building a great empire. So just on that note, what is it exactly that you actually do, and how do you help people?
So as you've said, I support people in rewiring their mind for success. And what happens is a lot of people sometimes habits have been created over time, since childhood, things have happened, life happens, and sometimes people get in their own way, and sometimes there's a lot of self-sabotage happening, but people can sometimes reflect it in the world as if it's like coming from outside sources. So I help people to reframe that and turn that attention inside, and then start working with tools, strategies, tips, different techniques and ways, because everybody's unique, everybody works differently. So giving them what works for them to help them rewire their own mind for their success and help them with their success journey.
I love that. And where did the Manifestation MAVEN word come from? Because I just love your organization and what it represents. So how did you come about with that?
Yeah, so it's an interesting story. As I've been on my journey and I've been constantly reframing myself, what I do, and repositioning how will it suit people best, a massive part of my journey has been law of attraction. So some people have heard of it, and the people who hear about it, they hear the word manifestation, they get excited like I do. Some people are like, what does that even mean? Or it sounds very sometimes hocus pocus or woo woo. But because it's a massive staple of my journey and how I support others, it became a key word that I wanted to bring into how I help others and how people see me and my services. The MAVEN part came from when I was actually on my journey. Part of my journey has been working with a lot of other mentors and coaches and business support, and they've all given me guidance and help as well, the way I'm helping others. So I've sought that help myself, so I like to be that example as well. But through that, I actually was working with a lady who does like clarity work, and she helps you get clarity on your messaging. And then she was just like, she goes, you're a maven? And I was like, what's that? And we were like Googling it, and it's basically being a master and being it's almost like a wizardry term, but it's like becoming the person who knows all about that situation. So I was like, it started off with me being the manifestation maven, then I was like, no, what? I want the people I work with to become the maven themselves. So that's where that comes from.
Excellent. I love that. Thank you for sharing, and I really love what you do, and you helping people create these positive changes in their lives. And that's sometimes a bit of a vague statement, isn't it? Oh, I help people to become their best and personal mastery, achieving their goals and dreams. And that's fantastic work, and you do it in so many different ways. And we'll talk a little bit more about what NLP, hypnotherapies, because some of these are a bit like a myth, you know, does it really work? What is it anyway? So let's really see what those strategies are. Yeah. But the thing is, really, a lot of people, they want to create these positive changes in their lives. Of course, you know, who wouldn't? They want to live life to its fullest, you know, achieve their goals and dreams. But why does it happen that it can be so slow? It's so slow, we don't progress quickly enough, or maybe we don't achieve anything at all, or maybe a lot of people are negative. So you're helping people achieve their goals. What would you say to someone, you know, kind of, instead of just saying, oh, just be confident and go after your dreams, what kind of tips or strategies could you give for someone to really start to pursue those goals and start manifesting what they want?
Well, I really wish it could be as simple as saying just be more confident. And I know a lot of people out there listening will be like, well, that's not as easy said than done. Whereas, you know, they can see someone like myself and be like, but you're always confident. I've always seen you as being confident. It's not always been the case. It takes time to build that up for sure. I think we're currently in a world where people are very much in instant gratification mode. You know, Amazon Prime, click next day delivery. You want it on the same day if you can have it. We want everything here and now. Like, everything is so much instant. And so we really want to, we're always looking at ways to fast track things and get things really quickly. The truth is that there still is always a bit of a journey, but I do look to support people in really making it shorter and making it a bit quicker. But it won't be necessarily the next day type quick.
And actually enjoyment through the journey.
Yes.
And that's what I've seen as well. And I've seen you obviously do a lot of different types of work, but also what I even noticed a couple of reviews, but that the key thing is enjoying the journey and not just having a look at the destination or whatever you're manifesting as the be all and end all, because I think that's what people can fall into sometimes, is they think once I achieve this, everything is going to be okay. I used to be a bit like that.
And myself.
Yeah.
So I totally get where that comes from. I've been there like you have as well. One massive thing that I do support people with is having a goal beyond the goal, because absolutely right. Once you hit that goal, it's like, now what? And you will be looking to continuously, it's a human nature thing, if that's the thing to say, but it's human nature to want to do more, learn more, be curious and keep learning. So once you get on this learning journey, there's always more to learn. Interestingly as well, once you're on your journey, sometimes what you thought was your destination, you change your mind and you're like, or you shift it a bit, or you might shift it totally and you change your mind along the way. So have a goal for sure and work towards it, but with time, be flexible enough to know that it may change, and that's okay as well.
I think, thank you so much for sharing, because that is so important, and actually I can relate to that, and I'm sure many other people can as well, is that, for example, we work with a lot of different types of people, also coaches who want to create this positive change in other people's lives. And sometimes, and there are a lot of amazing coaches. Coaching is fantastic. What a great way to get encouragement, motivation, support, direction, you know, just exactly what you provide as well. Yeah. But the key thing is not actually just about that, but it's really about identifying what they really want and going on that journey, because that goalpost can change. And so often, actually, when you start the journey, that's where you actually really find what is important. Yeah. Because I bet you worked with people who have the money, who have the house, who have the relationship, and they're still not happy.
Yes, there's a void.
So where is that coming from? I mean, that's a massive question. We could spend hours on that. But just on that, you mentioned before about a little bit about negative changes and impact, negative impact from childhood. Yes. Or past experiences. Yes. Does that have something to do with this?
Most of the time, yes, if not all of the time. Definitely social conditioning, cultural conditioning, the way we're brought up, the habits, behaviours that are around us and the expectations. In NLP terms, so NLP is neuro-linguistic programming, which is about the language that we use, that we understand things with. So sometimes you need to say things in a different way for different people because they process it in a different way. But based on the NLP models, there's one model that talks about everybody has their own map of the world. And this is based on our own life experiences and what we've been through. So when people have got their own map of the world, they sometimes project that onto others without realising it. But they're doing the best. And another model and another concept of NLP is doing the best with the resources that you have. So, for example, parents or caregivers, they do the best with the resources they have. Nobody has a book saying this is the parenting guide of the year. There might be some out there, but generally speaking, they do the best with what they've learned and how they've been brought up. So then they will only teach you the same things that they might have a limited capacity, and they'll teach you the same stuff. Then you learn the same things, and it kind of keeps getting like regurgitated almost. Some things
it's like continuing the cycle.
This is it. Some cycles are great and need to be continued, and some are not so much serving. And people sometimes repeating these. The biggest one is the interesting thing that you said about the start of the journey. Massive part of what I do is questioning, and questioning in a certain way to really get those questions answered, where a person sits there and can reflect, thinking, what has she just asked me and how do I answer that? Because that really gets the person to reflect and not just give surface level answers. It's those deeper answers because, for example, working to the timelines that are expected of us, we need to get married by a certain age, we should have children by a certain age, our career needs to be sorted by a certain age, all of these life situations that we keep comparing ourselves to other people as well. They've done this, I haven't done this yet. And it's like everybody's on their own journey, and who made these rules anyways, and why is that what you want? So somebody comes to me for relationship stuff and they'll be like, well, I want to manifest my soulmate. Okay, so what's the purpose of that? I want to get married. Okay, do you actually want to get married? Why do you want to get married? Because that's what everybody does. And it's like, that's what my parents are expecting me to get married, my siblings, my friends. And it's like, people are expecting of you, is that what you really want? So really digging down in these kind of questions in different areas of lives is where you get that true, the congruent answer actually, because it's the incongruencies that we have with this inner self, which is where people get a bit like mixed messages. They send out mixed messages to the universe, which we'll talk a little bit more about hopefully, but they then get mixed results in their life as well, in their circumstances.
Absolutely. I think it's so important what you're sharing there, because there's a good saying, and I'm all about quotes, but that you can't hit a target you don't have. Yes. So it's almost like, okay, that target might have been someone, for example, in marriage or children. And of course, that's a great goal. That's absolutely important to do. But however, that's not necessarily part of fulfillment. Yeah. So it's that self-discovery journey that you really help people with, and finding that peace and really that happiness and enjoyment in what they're doing every day, rather than just reaching for those goals, endless goals, because there's always going to be more, aren't there? And it's interesting what you said there about questions. So what you especially do with your clients is getting them really to think differently. Yeah. There's an interesting saying that goes that the quality of our life depends on the quality of questions you ask. Yes. So if someone asks, you talked there about NLP, so someone says, oh, why is this always happening to me? No matter what I do, I always fail. How is that a bad question? Because a lot of people, especially right now, there are a lot of challenges in the environment. Why does this happen to me? Yeah. Why me? Why me?
Why me is a massive one. I've been there as well. Why me? Why not somebody else? Why somebody else? Let's practice.
Why always me?
Truth is, yes, we ask this question, but rather than asking the question, why me, change the questions. Like you said, the quality of the question is important. What is this teaching me? If it's come to me, what can I learn from this? How can I do things differently? What am I supposed to learn from this situation? That's been one massive saving grace for me, and it's helped a lot of the people I've worked with as well to change the way they're looking at that, because it's happened to yourself for a reason, because you're the one who's on your own journey. Your learning can only happen with what you go through. If other people just keep going through things, what would you learn in your life, and how would you really grow? And this isn't just on a mental level. I really help people tap into the spiritual side of spiritually growing as well, and having that awareness, because this is something that a lot of people sometimes miss, and it's a big part of the ingredient as well.
I love that you're sharing that, and let's talk about spiritual, because it's so important. And if I may say, first time I saw spiritual growth as an area of development in my life, did this personality, or personal needs question, and I thought, spiritual, what's this? No, I don't need. So actually the whole concept, it's not very well understood. Yes. It's very much in the search still for humans, for people, just to kind of actually discover who they really are, whatever that means. So people have different things that they rely on, God, universe, whatever word we give that. However, what does spiritual growth really truly mean? And wow, that's another big, difficult question. But what's your take on spiritual growth, and what could people do, maybe just something simple every day, or to get started with, to start that exciting journey, because it's possibly the most important journey they will ever take.
Absolutely. So it's where we always talk about this concept of beliefs that we have. So another thing that I work heavily on is belief systems, and I always say that belief systems, BS, it starts with BS because it is BS, in the sense that we create it, it's constructed by ourselves, and these can be changed. We don't have to keep following that same belief, but this belief, what is it? It's this faith that we have, and we just have this faith, and sometimes it can be, like you've rightly said, religion. We could call it God, we could call it universe, we can call it whatever, but in essence, there's a higher power, there's a reason everything's happening. There's this, like, people talk about cosmos or energies, and you can label it whatever you wish to label it, but ultimately harnessing the power of that, understanding it, and really putting your energy in the right context in that space is what will really start helping that part of yourself. Because the way I see it, and this is my terms based on my experiences, I think over time, if you go really far back history-wise, everybody was very spiritual. And if you think about the oldest religions like Hinduism, you go far back and, you know, we know about sages and, you know, monks, and they're sitting under trees for years on end meditating, and people sometimes think that's what spirituality is, and that is an element of it, or a very higher level of it. But I feel like we all went through a phase in life as humanity being very highly spiritual. Then the physical stuff came in, where we became really practical. So then it was all about the manufacturing and hands-on and being here and present, and why are we going into this woo-woo land in our heads? And now we're slowly, I feel like we're levelling it out, where we're balancing both, because balancing both of them is where you're going to get true power, is my take on it.
Well, I think that's a fantastic way to put spiritual growth, and it does indeed mean many different things for a lot of people. So, and what you said there, it's interesting what you said there about, you know, could it be, you know, sitting under the tree? And what do they do under the tree? Because I've noticed and I've joined some of your amazing meditation sessions. So by the way, if you're thinking about meditating, make sure that you join Suman's meditation sessions. Amazing. So what do you actually do in that meditation? Because people think meditation to sit there, I can't sit there. You know, I've got 1,000 things going on in my mind. What am I going to do next? So I'm a bit like that, 1,000 miles an hour. So I've really had to change my mind about meditation to just to get started with it. But actually, what would be great if you could share, what is meditation? What does it actually mean? What benefits does it bring? Because it's massive benefit if you just do even a few minutes every day.
Absolutely. So interestingly, for me, again, meditation is very much similar to, it's a little bit different from, but another version of hypnotherapy. It's where you go into a very relaxed state. It's where you concentrate on your breathing. A lot of people, should I say, find it hard and say, I can't do it. I've tried to switch off, I can't. We're in this fast-paced world right now where everything is go, go, go. And again, what we were drawing on before about instant gratification mindset, want things here and now, just always so fast-paced. The truth is there's so much value in the slowing down, in the quietening of the mind, in the silencing of the mind. A true belief I have is that our answers are all deep down within us, and we can only access them when we actually quieten this outer noise and this chaos. It's part of the process. You know, we're all going through the same thing, but to really go there, and in terms of now talking a bit more about the hypnotherapy side and why meditation and hypnotherapy, especially together, works really effectively, is because if you think about when we were younger and we were between the ages of 0 and 7, we're growing up, we are massive balls of subconsciousness. We're just in a hypnotized trance state because of the way our brain levels are and our brain waves. And so we're in a constant learning state. Like little babies will imitate behavior because they're learning from the world around them. They're just in awe. Their eyes are open to everything. They're touching, tasting, smelling everything. And that's why we get learnt behaviours. We learn everything because in that level and that conscious state of being in that almost, you know, trance phase, we learn stuff and we implement things and we learn the way of being, our personality, our attitudes, our beliefs, all of that comes in that space. So when we get to a certain age then and we get past the age of 7, we get so much in the conscious mind and the here and now, we're no longer in that subconscious state anymore. So meditation and hypnotherapy gets you into that place where there's this thing called a critical faculty, which is in our minds that stops us from taking in new beliefs and new information. We kind of bat off new ideas really quickly. Can be defensive. It's our subconscious mind protecting us. But doing these like slowing down rituals and breathing exercises and inner work, you can tap into that space again where you can relearn and learn new things and embed new thoughts, beliefs, behaviours, attitudes. So that is what then constitutes towards what you're doing in the outer world and what results you're getting.
That's fantastic. That's by far the best explanation I've had for meditation, for sure. I love what you said there. It's about silence in the mind, isn't it? It's about taking time to, not be so busy all the time, because there's one thing is being busy and another one is being productive. And another one is just being busy for the sake of it. But actually, is it really purposeful? Is it really taking you towards those manifestation areas and goals that you really want? But it's interesting what you say there about meditation and taking that time off, because people say, and again, I'm guilty of this, I must say that, I can't take time off, I've got 1,000 things to do, it's easy for you to say you've got all these things, but actually, I could never do that. But actually, I learned the hard way in a way that less is more.
Yes.
So less is more when you actually take a step back. Because I heard a great advice, and I know that you teach this very well, is release resistant thought. So when you're meditating is when you're releasing that resistant thought. Because when you're meditating, you release all thought, or you let go of all thought. Therefore, you let go of resistant thought. So it's interesting what you said there about being really defensive. No, I haven't got the time for that. Or no, well,
That ain't gonna work for me.
Yeah, I've tried it.
That's not for me. It's not my cup of tea. But it's been around for centuries. It's not a new thing. And slowly, they call it like Eastern traditions, because it comes from like yoga and that kind of background. However, it's been around for years, and I think now people are more open to it and started exploring it a bit more. And they say success leaves clues. Now, if you follow any successful person, I guarantee somewhere they're going to be saying that, I take time out to do meditation, or they might call it something else. They'll just be like, I have quiet time with myself. There's different ways to do it, for sure, and it's about exploring the different ways to find what works for yourself.
Well, exactly, and I'm glad that you say that, because again, referring to me many years ago when I first tried it, I thought this is not for me. Like a lot of people, I can't get rid of the thoughts, and I'm anxious and I'm fidgety, and I just want to keep thinking about what I need to do next. But actually, hang in there, keep doing it, because every time you keep getting better. So what you said there about, we're living in the world where I'm not good enough straight away, or try something new. Whereas actually meditation is a great journey, because when you master meditation, or at least are on the journey to it, you receive the most amazing visualizations and ideas. So I would love for you to talk a little bit more about, I noticed in one of the meditation sessions, actually, the timeline, travel and therapy. It sounds weird, it sounds fascinating, but what does that actually mean? What is timeline therapy? How could people really start to move from those negative past experiences, stop focusing on those, stop focusing on what they're not, but actually then move forward? And you use timeline therapy, as I understand, and what does that actually mean? What is it?
So everything we've been talking about, really, it's amalgamation of that. It's a mixture of using NLP language patterns, and then it's a mixture of getting into imaginative, relaxed state, and then it's using your imagination to travel on what your in effect your timeline is like, depending on in line with where your body is, where you feel like where your future is, where your past is. For myself, if I think about my past, I always think it's behind me. If I think about my future, I think it's in front of me. So if I'm going in my mind, and then we do this technique called floating, you'll float above the timeline and you'll go to various parts of your life where you can feel like some work needs to be done, or some reflections or learnings, and we kind of take you in your mind's eye back to that place. Then from like almost a hypnotic standpoint, get new learnings, new way of looking at things, and reframing all of that. So that's in a nutshell how timeline works. I do want to add at this point as well, a lot of people, if you've gone through things in your life, go down the route of counselling, which is also a really great tool. However, sometimes, again, in my world, when I originally thought to go down the route of counselling, I felt that if you keep talking about a traumatic experience or event, if you keep talking about pain and hurt, there's this thing called wiring, like hardening that neurology, and keep on reliving it. You're almost hardening that belief and making it even more concrete. So what timeline therapy, where it differs, is we don't touch on emotions or the actual event. We can do it at a very higher level where your subconscious mind knows what work it's doing without you having to emotionally revisit that trauma. So it's a very effective, and it sounds so simple, but it is so effective as well.
I love that, thank you. And that is such an important part, isn't it? Is just to let go of those past things and actually start to focus on what's coming.
Yeah.
And reliving those past experiences, constantly keep repeating what you haven't yet manifested, how you're not ready for this or that yet, or how no one is helping you. Actually, that's the thing that is keeping you away. So NLP is all about how they use language, how we use language to move us forward in a way. So in terms of NLP, I mean, we're talking about a lot of the different tools that you use. NLP is a common term, but actually it's a bit confusing, or not everyone actually knows what it is. So what does it stand for? And maybe how could people use that? How could, especially women now wanting to move forward, you know, really achieve your goals and dreams and, you know, take complete control of your life and your future and your destiny. How could they leverage NLP tools and strategies?
So NLP is one of the tools. I would say use a mixture of tools where you can. With NLP, it's all about reframing the way you speak. For me, it's about the language you're using and the language that people use around you as well. So often enough, people have really self-sabotaging self-talk, like the examples you've just given. I'm not good enough, I can't do that, not me, it's only for somebody else, why me? When you start changing the language patterns and start changing the way you're structuring how you look at things, you'll really start shifting the way you feel about it. Because the minute, you know, you change even the why me question to what is it teaching me, you get into a different mindset, because you're not like in this victim zone, you're not like blaming the world. You're like, actually, I can learn something from this and I can take something away from this, and that's going to help me going forward. So when you start thinking like that, you're like, oh, I've got tools now and I've learned something and now I know more for next time, and you start seeing yourself in a different light. So these little shifts, you know, really help. But within NLP as well, there is different models as well and techniques that are like different strategies. Like, I could be here for ages talking about all of them, but they're really like quick techniques to help you shift your belief patterns or shift your feelings about something in an instant. It's very like simple, quick techniques to be able to just do things in a very quick way where you're not consciously processing it, your subconscious mind is processing all of it. So NLP is a great way to, again, access that subconscious mind and rewire those beliefs and thought patterns that aren't serving you.
That's fantastic. So really releasing from that resistance from the past and now creating that new way, and really actually indeed setting those goals to manifest to begin with. So we talked now about especially the mindset, how to reframe some of those thoughts and ideas, and letting go of the past it can be easily said, not so easily done. But it also comes with creating that vision. What you help people to do is really to create that vision that pulls them and that means something to them. So let's now talk about the strategy side, because I know that you help people with personal mastery, both within the mindset, but also with regards to their strategy and goals. So when it comes to goal setting, it's one of the most important things, isn't it? And many fail to do that. And it's certainly not being taught in education. You know, I was never taught to set goals. And some people might say, go after your dreams and do the best you can, but that doesn't necessarily mean much. So if someone is now especially listening today, you know, and thinking, you know what, I'm ready to start taking action, do something new and different, rather than just wandering out and getting really busy, what do you think they should do first in terms of goals and targets?
For sure, just write it down. Journaling is massive. Like, there's so much insight you get, reflections you get from it, and people may think, what's journaling? There's a lot of information out there, so definitely tap into the resources available. Even with myself, there's so many resources that we offer with regards to guided books, which give a lot of help. The Secret was a massive one for me. There's books like Power of Now and a bunch of other, there's so many, I'll be here all day, but there's loads of tools and resources. Like I would say with my example, work with people who are kind of already at the stage of what you want to achieve. They're the best people to be around, or people who are on a success journey for sure. The people you hang around with, as they say, you become an average of the people you spend the most time with. So start thinking about where you're spending time. What are your circles? Think about the networking circles you're in. And I'm not saying go and break friendships with all your friends now. What I'm saying is, that just think about where's your most time being spent. So think about the information you're consuming. Are you spending a lot of time reading newspapers and watching the news, or could you be doing some reading? Could you be watching some YouTube videos with some information on it, some guidance? Work with people as well. Get yourself coaches and mentors for sure. That's been a massive thing in my life, and the reason why I do what I do, because it's such an important need. So find somebody you can work with who you feel aligned with or resonating with. You'll be able to work effectively with them, where they can start helping you brainstorm things. They can help you with your goal setting, and ultimately setting that goal beyond the goal as well, about what is that bigger picture, bigger need, what is it that you want to achieve. And then the other things start slowly falling into place. But again, I say slowly, you know, because it is a journey.
Absolutely, and to take your time and not be hard on yourself. So if you do fail, again, there's a saying that goes, there's no failure to speed of learning. It's only failure if you say that that's it and that's finished. Those are, again, the language that we use, isn't it? So not to label things so heavily and strongly that this is it and this is that and now this is what it means. It's actually giving things a different meaning, giving the past experiences a different meaning as well. So, I mean, we could just carry on talking for hours, because I just love what you're sharing. It's so relevant to so many people. Everyone, in fact, of course, who wouldn't want to go after their dreams. But before we finish off, just another few minutes, I'd love for you to maybe to share, Suman, your journey, because you've had such a transformational journey yourself. Yeah. So actually, what's been a great challenge, or actually, maybe you could share a big challenge, how you overcame it, and then one of the greatest successes, and why was it a success? Because it might help someone else as well to really move forward, overcome some challenges that they have, because you're truly the new woman. You're doing the things that people say, oh, well, it's easy for Suman to say. She's so confident, you know, always radiant and always just studying and learning. You're qualified in so many things. Easy for her to say. But all of that time you were studying, you were doing the things that many people didn't do. Yeah. How did that happen, and what was that great success and maybe that great challenge along that?
It's such a big question. There's been so many different scenarios in my life I could use right now. I guess, like in my coaching world, I feel when I actually embarked on my journey to, decide to become a coach, that was like over a decade ago now. That's about 12, 13 years ago. And at that time, I did a life coach course, and I was like, yep, I'm a coach now. And I had no clients, and I was like, how do I go about this? I'd learnt business studies and all that, but in theory it's one thing, and in practice it's just something else. And it was like such a journey. And then in between I kept on trying to make a career work. So I started trying to like merge it together. I started saying, well, I'm going to build these coaching techniques into my workplace. And then I started doing coaching and training in a corporate job. But there was still this thing missing. Like you've said, there's people who have it, and then it's like, but it's not hitting the spot. Because ultimately, on my journey, I also started doing a lot of side hustles. I did network marketing, was not successful with it. Failure was part of my success journey. Loads of different failures add up to become your success. But I'm still continuously having mini successes and failures along the way. For me, the greatest one was the challenging belief around you need to have a job versus working for yourself. And when I decided that I wanted to work for myself, that was a big, massive leap for me. And I kept on doing like part-time work or full-time work, and kept on saying, no, I'll slowly like phase it out. Then all of a sudden I was made redundant, and it was like, okay, this is a universal sign. And then my biggest success came from me really practicing what I preach, saying, okay, let's go full-fledged with this, because this is what I would train and support other people to do. So yeah, now everything that I'm able to do, and the space that I've got, and the platforms I get access to, being here today, it's just amazing, the opportunities I've got, and then the opportunities that I'm able to give others as well.
I love that journey, and I would love to hear so much more. And I know that you've had great successes, and you've helped other people to achieve such great successes as well. So what you said there, and just to kind of summarize, the important part is that whatever you want to do, go after and start doing it. Learn along the way. You know, what you shared there is all about taking those small steps. So if you feel like right now you're feeling a bit unfocused, maybe did a lot of things like Suman, I'll do a little bit of this and then do a little bit of that and 10 things at the same time, it's impossible to get things done properly. So really don't be hard on yourself, but actually reflect now and think, what do I really want? What Suman has been here sharing, and set that vision, set the goals, write the journals, invest in the coach, do the things, and really start to rewire your mind, giving past experience a different meaning. So thank you so much for joining Suman today. Now, just as we're finishing off, is there one thing that you just want to say to someone who is now ready to go after their dreams?
Absolutely. I think just in your summary, a thought came in my mind, so I'd love to share that. Scattered energy gives you scattered results. So really get your focus. Once you have that laser sharp focus, nothing can get in your way other than yourself. So take yourself out your own way.
Amazing, amazing. And make sure that you get in touch with Suman. Suman has tons of online courses, programs, online events, everything related to rewiring your mind for success, meditation, hypnotherapy. The whole thing is so fascinating. I absolutely love joining your sessions. Make sure that you join that. And your websites, they can visit and find you on social media as well?
That's correct. So just look under my name, Suman Manghra. I'm blessed to have a unique name, so there's not many Suman Manghras out there. So yeah, you'll be able to find me on the different various platforms.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Suman. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here today. Now, I can see that there's many more successes ahead for you. So thank you for joining the New Woman, sharing these practical strategies and tools. And I can see there's massive successes ahead. So thanks.